All right, so I promised you a little video. I guess this will probably be the last one on mistakes people make. And so the current context here is actually maybe a place to introduce this. So you remember how I redefined the site a couple of minutes ago so that I could update my portfolio? Well, imagine that at this point, what I really wanted to do was to go back and maybe edit my template for the earlier website in such a way as to update all the files for that. Well, you know what? I redefined my site at a higher level. And you know what's really weird? The templates won't even function at any other position than the one that they pick for themselves when you first create a template. That is one level exactly from the top. How many levels is this from the top? Here's the top. There's a level. There's a level. So you could edit this all afternoon and try to update your files, and it wouldn't do it. But changing the site definition a little bit, like back to what it was before, basically, would let you quickly change it and update it. So let me show you, right? Let's bail out of here, close up whatever's open. Site, manage sites. This is the one I'm working on. And basically, I'll just pick the folder called exercise as the one that I want to use. I'm done. I'm back. And at this level, look, here's the top of the site. Here's the templates folder. It would now work. All right. So that's maybe a little tricky to remember, and people occasionally fall into that hole, but it doesn't come up all that commonly. So let me show you the classic horrible, terrible things people do to themselves. I guess the first thing is that basically people start to design, because that of course is the first step in this process, designing the document that will be turned into the template and produce the files. And basically they go to pieces. And they just start doing things randomly. So remember that there's a kind of an order of steps to this. And the order of steps is design the document, save it as a template, make the pages, update the template, update the pages, publish the pages. That's essentially it. And if you try to go back and forth in that, you just typically get all mixed up, start going around in circles, chasing your tail. People freak out a lot, they forget what they're doing a lot, so just don't forget to slow down, breathe, think. Now, on a more practical level, people do bunches of dumb things. Like, let's say that I had my template, and I did remember to do something like file, new, create, page from template, right? And I mean, let's say that I drag something in there, like one of these little text files. Come on. Now, so far so good, but the stupid thing people do is they then save it as a template. You do not want multiple templates. All right. So if you were to go file, save as template right now, you'd be digging a hole in the ground and jumping down into it. It's a bad idea. The template creates these files, but they are standard HTML. So anything other than just letting it save as regular HTML is a terrible mistake. The other dumb thing that they do, and sometimes I'm not even quite sure how this happens, but it does happen a lot, is they end up saving all their HTML documents. So they're correct as far as that goes, but they end up saving them all into the templates folder, which is a really bad place for them to be. There's no reason for them to be in there. So your pages are HTML, they're saved to the top level of the site, all right? classic dumb things again. People save the index file under the name home. I understand why this happens, but for goodness sake, we've been talking about this for 10 weeks, right? And I think I've been saying this every week for 10 weeks. And so if anybody names it home, it's on you, not me. Because remember, if you do that, it's like, fine, you've got a document called home. If it was not intended to be the home page, it would be fine. You could link it up to stuff and all that. But if this is intended to be the home page, it simply will not load when people go to your website, because there's nothing about this that has any active functionality. It's this name, index, that causes the load. Other things, people capitalize everything, right? I swear to you, if you put a capital I on the front of index when you go to save this thing, I'm going to say don't update. If you put a capital I on the front of that thing when you go to save it, it will not load again. All right? This would be the dumbest reason in the world to lose big points on your final, because you insisted on putting a capital letter in there. Right. And I don't need to update because I already have the lowercase. Other things, when you're connecting to the server, for example, other things people do wrong. If you were going to make yourself a new folder, for example, please be aware of the fact. Here, I'll make one. If you're going to make a new folder, if you were to type something as unlikely as this seems, like final exam, that's a really bad idea. That space there really cannot register as a meaningful part of a web address, and you would not be able to load that. Likewise, if you type final, it will need a capital letter on the front end of that to load properly. So for goodness sake, just keep it simple. Keep it simple. All right, so be like final, and that's all you need, and then you'd be ready to go. All right. I'm having trouble thinking of anything else to say that people have traditionally done to shoot themselves in the foot on this, but believe me, I'm sure there are a few more things. So write me if you have questions and problems, and this is the time to do it. Remember that you can bring some notes to class to kind of help yourself during the final exam to get over particular hurdles that are challenging to you, but you have to be organized enough ahead of time to think of what they are and write down the meaningful steps. I'm going to probably take down these videos during the final, but I haven't quite decided yet. All right, I'm rooting for you. See you soon.